without having a face-to-face and a real shake hand. The good thing about it is if we create a bell curve to evaluate what will be changed, what will be stayed, and what could be replaced, we can observe that 12% of the skills and capabilities of the workforce will be replaced. We'll have 13% new capability, new skills, new competencies invented almost from scratch. And this is the shiny part of the technology that we believe, wow, this is amazing, this is new, and we need to be ready for that. But in reality, the main part of it is 75%. This is the core. 75% is our skills, our competencies, our abilities, our capabilities, as well as the abilities and capability of our workforce in the organization could be enhanced instead of being irrelevant or replaced. So in order to get this new generation or current generation of products, it is very important to understand that those technologies, the more easy to use and the more sophisticated they are, the more requirement for sophisticated skills and capabilities, which means a higher learning curve, a higher difficulty to access to the workforce that is relevant for those positions. So the more we put time watching Netflix or scrolling and taking a look at Facebook, the less capability our workforce will have to be relevant for the position of tomorrow. As organizations, now the majority of the organizations are moving forward, implementing programs to make their workforce relevant, to help their workforce jump to the next level and cross the bridge and stay relevant. In order to offer this amazing service, we must stay relevant in terms of capabilities, competencies, abilities, skills, and emotional intelligence. Those are some of the aspects or some of the roles that you can see in your organization. Solution architect, enterprise security architect, network engineer. But you can also see one key trend. All those people are highly specialized. This specialty will come a little bit with a lot of training and certification and skills uplifting, but it will also come with a risk. Those people are becoming in a more niche sector. In that niche, it's very easy to make it irrelevant. That's why today, with coronavirus, with the trend of cost cutting, several of those roles are in danger. Many organizations are having the dynamic of doing more with less. So doing more with less means more pressure on the resources to stay relevant. In order to do so, there is a change also at the level of the process. The process itself, for example, in order to work in the digital era, it is mainly customer-centric. So you will need a different type of profiles, different type of employees with a different mindset. It's no more the mindset of product first, it's the mindset of client first. You can see here a map where you can start from the complete left, which is a customer applying to a service to interact. He will select his product and he will go shopping. In order to get that particular step, we need to have a strong information architecture. We need to have a strong design modeling. We need to have a sophisticated visual design, creating different prototypes omni-channel across the different channels. Then we re-engineer our customer journey and we do the concept of A/B testing to validate what is the best value out of this particular output, out of this particular design. Is it more appealing to women of 40 plus age, or is it more appealing to male teenagers? Then we generate a report of usability, interact with the stakeholders, evaluate our design, and we close the loop. Those particular roles years ago were not here, and today they are becoming even more sophisticated. That's why now blended in a team of technology designer, it's not surprising to find profiles such as anthropologist. We are blending this kind of sophisticated socially background profiles like anthropologists in a design team. Why is this? Because we care about human interaction. We care about human centricity. In order to do that, organizations now are inventing themselves by creating a cycle of enablement of their resources. Instead of letting the employee by himself on his leisure time select a training or a certification from a best effort basis, organizations now are creating a loop of continuous development, which is mainly driven by annual checkup, annual digital readiness, annual technical capability assessment, annual personality assessment, annual behavior assessment. This particular inventory of competency on a yearly basis is helping us to identify pool of employees, pool of colleagues, based on mainly two dimensions. One is a technical capability and digital readiness. Second is a professional behavior and values alignment. When we say values alignment, is values with the organization. And here, when we evaluate those capabilities, you can see four main categories. The categories of people having a very high technical capabilities and very high digital readiness. However, they are not aligned with the professional behavior and values of the organization. Those categories we named the mercenaries. They are mainly fit for consultants and freelancers. Those profiles, you need them definitely to help you deliver. However, in the long run, it's not really the best choice. Second category, in the right bottom corner. Those categories are people having a very high professional behavior and values alignment. However, their technical capability and digital readiness is still basic. And this we are talking mainly about large-scale organization from industry that has been disrupted, from industry that has not been reinventing itself or uplifting its processes. So they have very strong pool of people who are very well aligned to the value of the organization. However, technically, they are not very savvy. So they are still doing a lot of manual work. They are not leveraging robotic processing automation. They are not leveraging virtual collaboration. They are not leveraging robotics and automation appropriately. And you have a category of the superstars. The superstars are people very well aligned with the values of the organization. They are having a productive behavior, and they are also technically capable and digitally savvy. Those are the superstars in your organization that you need to protect from headhunters and keep satisfied. And the last one is the category with low or very low professional behavior and alignment with low or very low technical capabilities. This category is the heavy lifting, or the lost cause. Those are the people that you don't want to invest your efforts and your time in. When a person needs to be boosted every morning to work, need to be boosted every morning to deliver, need to be boosted every morning to satisfy the clients, need to be boosted every morning to take care of the quality that he is delivering, need to be boosted every morning to be reliable. This is not good. And as Jim Rohn said, I would prefer someone who is fairly trained but highly motivated rather than pumping the dead every morning. You don't want to pump the dead every morning. So the profile of the employee of tomorrow is the continuous learning, the person who is taking care of his profile from a 360 degree. The academic, this is what we name the right to play. This is just the first step in the door. However, an employee needs to bring much more to the table. He needs to bring strong behavior and emotional skills like intellectual curiosity, continuous learning, emotional intelligence. And by emotional intelligence, we mean learning itself, himself's emotion, and being able to modify himself's emotion. Then learning somebody else's emotion and learning how to influence that person's emotion. So 4 parameters to consider: empathy, resiliency, self-motivation, and persistence. And God knows how we need those particular capabilities in the workplace. Hard skills, definitely. For every role, there is a list of hard skills. We can see that a little bit later in detail. Then we have the digital literacy, the comfort with the platform as a service, with the other concepts. It is definitely a must. And credential and industry enablement. I personally, in one cycle of my progress in my career, I was able to completely double my annual salary because I had one certification. That certification was so key in order to get a particular RFP for a large organization, for a large project with the government in Canada, that my employer was definitely putting the money on the table. And I was definitely in the early stage of my career versus much more senior people. So credentials and certification could be a game changer many times. And we are observing this every day in the workplace. Now I will be going a little bit faster. I don't know how, I still have, I believe, 10 minutes. Dr. Hafiz, please let me know if...
10 to 15 minutes, yes.
Very good, thank you very much. So now, if we go a little bit in detail, what does it mean to be a continuous learner or an efficient and resilient employee? This means to consider all those aspects you can see on the screen. We are taking an example of one profile. And this assessment, we are doing it across the hundreds of profiles in the organizations in order to make sure that everyone is relevant for his position. We start from the top left corner, hard skills. What cybersecurity analyst should have. He needs to be able to use or build a cybersecurity maturity assessment, build a cybersecurity practice, implement single sign-on, prevent data leakage and prevention process. Those are specific tasks and capabilities that a person will do on his day-to-day job in order to deliver to his client, both external client and internal clients. The second aspect is the soft skills. Is the capability to balance between different projects, is to meet the approved deadline, is to adopt guidance from senior engineer, to lead and conduct technical presentation, to communicate in an impactful manner in order to influence decision making, to mentor junior security analysts. So for every role, we are creating an inventory of the hard skills and an inventory of the most relevant soft skills for a person. Then we are identifying a list of credentials. What are the most impactful certification and training and credentials that are required for that particular role? And here you have a listing of leading certification for that particular role. Obviously, a person doesn't need to have them all in order to be relevant. However, a person needs to be in a journey to acquire the most relevant ones of them for his particular role. If somebody is not yet in the journey, he is definitely in a complete different journey. It's the journey to be irrelevant. And the next one is the attitude. Maybe you heard about the expression, your attitude will define your altitude. Your attitude will define some particular aspect of your behavior, some particular aspect of your workforce behavior. It's can-do-it mindset. It's easy to work with, the positive thinker. Let me give you an example about I can do it mindset. I can now think about two of my colleagues. Both of them are senior. One is a digital transformation analyst in a leading technology organization, and one is a data analytics expert. The former one, the digital specialist, even though the name of his position is digital transformation specialist, he is always very conservative and afraid of any new assignment. Whenever we are having a new challenge on the table to deliver to the client, his first reflex is, whoa, this is new. Whoa, this is difficult. How can we do that? This is the first reflex. The basic thing for him is, I cannot do it. However, the data analytics specialist, who is just a role that is in a niche position of the organization, he is stepping up for almost every challenge, from strategy discussion to data cleansing to a variation of mentoring to junior colleagues to autonomy in project management. So now, guess what? The second one is on a fast track to be promoted because he's involved in too many projects that require this mindset. It's not because of his data analytics background, the hard skills. Now the attitude is defining his altitude. He is much more visible to the senior managers than the first one. And this is the importance of attitude. It is sometimes a little bit difficult, or historically a little bit difficult to measure, but definitely it is measurable today with a number of assessments that I mentioned before. And if you want to discuss it, we can have further discussion later on about them or privately. It is so important to have measurable assessment on those aspects to be assured about the relevance. So now let me give you a real case. Let's take the example of a nurse. And this example is taken an example of real life situation with the real numbers from the market. And those numbers are in AED, which is in UAE dirham. A nurse, let's say, is today having, if you go to the internet, there is about 250 positions open. The monthly salary is 12 dirham a month. In this journey of development, this particular nurse, with the training in business analysis, with a training in business process management, now this nurse is becoming a healthcare business analyst. And now his recruiter is no more the hospital X and hospital Y, is now IBM, Dell, Cleveland Clinic, and Cerner. Now her salary is 25,000 dirham. After going into a much more enablement into the business architecture, which is the business process development, which is another training, which is a business process re-engineering, business process modeling, business process automation, Now, guess what? Your business analyst is becoming a business architect because she's now able to design the process, not only to analyze the process. And now the recruiter are OpenText, Allscripts, IBM, Cerner, and others. And the salary is 45,000 dirham plus. Next one is with the right training and certification post the business architect, training on digital transformation, training on artificial intelligence, training on Internet of Things, on HL7, on DICOM. Now, guess what? Our friend, the business architect, is becoming clinical transformation specialist with a salary of 65,000 dirham. This is a process of getting somebody who is complete outsider to the technology domain to convert him into a very niche skill in the technology domain. And this is how she is getting a multiplied salary. But if today you meet the nurse and you ask any nurse, what is your next position? Most likely she will tell you lead nurse or ICU nurse or a nurse in a much more known hospital rather than thinking outside the box about the opportunity in technology. If we take this perspective, imagine how many resources in your organization today who is a developer and can become, between brackets, a CEO. And here I'm referring to Satya Nadella from Microsoft, who started as a developer, and now he's the successful successor of Bill Gates. Thank you very much for attending the session. It was really a pleasure to meet you all. Thank you very much. Please feel free to share your question.
Thank you, Marwan. It was a great session. If there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to unmute your mic and discuss with Marwan directly, or you can post in the chat window as well. So there was one comment from Muhammad Saad. He mentioned we are living in the most disruptive era in human history. I think employers would have resilient workforce only if they train their employees to unlearn and relearn new skills. We have seen these examples in US where companies like General Motors and Tesla has made ventilators during this pandemic. So do you have any comments about this?
This is definitely an excellent comment. It is definitely true that in many cases, you need to unlearn in order to learn. And we can remember the metaphor of Karate Kid, or taking the glass half empty, then pouring it all and filling it with the new content. It definitely makes sense. It's not necessarily required every time. It's not necessarily required to be a disruptor to do it in this kind of drastic way, but in many aspects, especially in specific product development, it is definitely needed, and it will may take a bold move from the CEO to go there. Very good comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marwan. Any other questions from the audience? Please feel free to ask. Sunil, are you here?
Dr. Hafiz, do you have access to the chat? If you can let me know if there is any question on the chat.
Yeah, I'm just checking the chat window.
Excellent, very good.
Hi, Sunil, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. So do you have any questions for Mr. Marwan?
Yeah, say especially the way the industry is going through, I really like upskilling. It's great. One of the main thing what we are identifying, whatever work from home will be either outsourced or offshored. The main reason is nobody wants to take a mobile phone which is manufactured in a developing country or developed country rather. So on that basis, definitely upskilling all is really good, but the way I'm looking at the immigration policies, what's happening across the world. So definitely some of the governments, what I'm seeing, still they're going for skill, what is required, they're projecting. But looking at actually what happened in the COVID, uh, personally, we feel in the next 6 months there will be a lot of job losses in, especially for IT professional in developed countries. So what is your say? I mean, your say, especially coming from Cognizant, a global company, especially outsourcing company.
Very good. Thank you very much, Sunil, for sharing it. Um, it is that the pressure is definitely here, to be fair. So what we are observing is, so the main trend that we are hearing is there is a risk. But in reality, on the ground, there is a lot of our clients who are renewing their project and continuing their journey. And they are cutting the nice to have projects, the shiny ones, but they are definitely going with the mainstream that were planned initially. We are also observing a trend of embracing offshore much more than before. Before, many clients were not ready to have 30% or 70% of his resources delivering from a complete different country and remotely, far from the eyes, far from the heart. People believe that. With COVID-19, what we are observing is we are shifting about 80 to 90% of the employees, and for specific project, 100% of them completely offshore. And the client is receiving the value. And now we are receiving feedback that, guys, we are even more productive sometime than before. So feel free to continue this model. So I believe there is good days ahead for the offshoring rather than the opposite.
Okay. Thanks a lot for it. I really appreciate it because this is again a concern for on-source resources, especially IT professionals. As you told, the cost will definitely drastically come down. It's good for the companies, but bad for the IT profession unless upskill. I take go with your words. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marwan. We have a question in the chat window from one of the attendees. So he's asking who is pushing the people into digitization, like what is the motivation behind it and what is the push behind it?
Very good. In fact, what you observed personally is two trends. One is you have in the organization with you people who are successful, people who are very well motivated, and people who are mentoring others, either actively or passively, by being a role model and being a learner, sharing his credential on LinkedIn, sharing his new certification on email, with copying the senior leadership. Hey, I am amazing. I just finished this. Thank you very much for your support. And those people are having the spotlight, and the other people are saying, whoa, this guy is having the spotlight because of this. Let me take a shot at that. And it is creating some kind of competition between the resources as part of the same team. This is one trend. This trend is a little bit more organic. It will take much more time, and you need some of those superstars to create this trend. However, one more major trend we are observing is CEOs coming to the organization and questioning the digital capability and ability of the workforce to help him execute, to help her execute its strategy. Now, this CEO is putting on the table an agenda to the board. Hey, Mr. Board members, I need to proceed with the strategy. You mandated me for this strategy. However, I suspect that more than 50% of my workforce is not fit for the job. Now this question mark, either it will be solved by chit chat, or let's close it. No, it's an illusion, work with it, or we don't have budget, work with it. Or in a much more productive way, organizations are initiating a first step of the program. which is assessment. Let's have just an assessment by a third party going specialized into technical assessment as well as behavior assessment. By doing it, it will very quickly show the deficiencies or lack of maturity or pockets of lack of readiness, as well as it will help you to see some hidden gems. Hidden gems in your organization that people could be going to a higher position that will be much more capable to execute your strategy. But today, they are hidden in the layer of the hierarchy. You don't see that potential. With this assessment, you are able to uncover that potential and take advantage of it for the good of the organization. So those are the two trends I'm observing. Bottom up, led by superstars informally, and CEO purposefully going into a better execution by enabling its workforce through assessment and uplifting of capabilities.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Sorry, sorry for interruption. I have another question. This is Saad. Actually, we are talking about sustainability and resilience, and whatever you have shared with us, I have a feeling that it's 99% related to resilience. It's the sustainability. What we see is actually it always refers to biodiversity and the human civilization, that it has to coexist. So what I find out, I've worked 13 years and I have never seen that any employer would give us any training about the biodiversity, about the climate change, about the sustainability stuff. And all of these strategies are actually coming from top to bottom. So my point is that if we are talking about the sustainability, we should have such strategy which would travel from bottom to top. So, and it would bring the awareness among the people as well. Like, what is sustainability? Because Paris Agreement, they say that if we do not follow the sustainable approaches, maybe in 2100 will be no more. The temperature would rise to 4.8 degrees Celsius, you know. So this is also, I think, the point which is missing. No employer in the world is having corporate trainings at the sustainability level, so that they would educate their employees that how to be sustainable in their working environment. So please give us something on that part also, that is there anything happening in your organization, or how employers are actually tackling this sustainability along with the resilience? Yeah, please.
Very good. Thank you very much for this contribution. In fact, what I observe in terms of sustainability are campaigns, and they are not really from a training perspective. I saw them mainly as campaign or social responsibility initiatives. When we have a CSR team driving specific initiative of the workforce contributing to the community, the workforce giving back by volunteering time to the community toward project in sustainability. This is what I mainly observed. It's not really taken from a perspective of a training. It is taken from a volunteering and the time of authorized to people. But I definitely see the value of having a formal training in sustainability to systematically increase the awareness about sustainability. Very good point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Marwan. I think we are running out of time. So thanks for your presentation today. It was really a great source of learning for everyone. So I would like to thank you here, and so that we can move on to our next speaker. Thank you for your time, for coming and presenting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure to be with you here and have an awesome experience, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.